Hey folks, and welcome back to Max Nave Horsemanship and Baby Steps. Well, again, I probably don't have a whole lot to show you today because we're going to be doing the things that we have already shown you over and over. And I've mentioned this before, you're going to have to keep doing things, and I'm going to give you another example. As I showed you recently in a video how to teach a horse to be caught. Not to catch a horse, but how to teach it to be caught. And it involved taking your lead and spinning it in front of you. And well, actually, I had a little more out than this. I was even slapping the ground with it. But it's one of those things, and one of many things, that you're going to have to repeat. And depending on your horse. Now, some horses are just naturally a lot more social and easier to catch. And some are like, I don't want nothing to do with that. Get out of here. I'm out of here. Bye. And, well, you might have to redo this many times. You know, it's not, I've said this before, with every single step, they're not a single event. They're an ongoing process that can take days, weeks, months, even years. Literally, that's not an exaggeration. And it all depends on the horse, the facilities, your skills, etc., etc. There's a lot of variables, but I'm going to give you an example so that you don't think, that, well, you did something wrong because you got to do it again. My own horse, one of my own horses, she just disappeared around the other side of the barn now. She's about 19 years old, and she knows how to be caught very well. And in fact, I used to go out into the pasture. I had multiple horses, and I'd just say, okay, kids, come on, let's go. And they'd follow me into the arena. I didn't even have to put a halter or lead on them. They'd just go with me. Well, this one in particular, she's different. And even though she knows the stuff very well, there is the occasional day still. Remember, 19 years old, and I've had her for many years. And every once in a while she'll go, no, I don't feel like being caught, and start walking away. At which point I grab my lead rope, and I don't even have to spin it with her. She knows the routine. She knows how it works. I just pick it up, hold it out in front, and I says, do I have to? And she kind of turns around, looks at me, and turns around and comes back. Because I've done this enough times that she knows what happens. She knows what comes next. And in her case, I don't even have to spin the lead at her. If I had to, I would. But in her case, all I got to do is hold it up like this, and right away she knows what comes next. And she turns around and comes back to me because, well, she knows how this game works. Because we've done it enough times with her. But every once in a while, we still have to. It's 19 years later, every once in a while, we still have to remind her that the rules have not changed, that we still have the same expectations of her that we've always had. And you're going to have to do that with your horse too. So, if you get something working really good, and you've done it quite a few times, and then all of a sudden one day it's not working anymore, well, don't get upset about it. Don't feel so bad. It might not be, you haven't done a thing wrong. It's just the way it is. And sometimes you will have to redo things, and over, and even many years later, you might still have to do things to get the horse to cooperate, because you have to constantly remind it. And this is why I always say, never let the horse get away with anything. It's not to say that, well, the horse can't have an opinion, and you should listen to the horse, because sometimes they got some good senses and they know what they're doing. But sometimes you got to remind them, and sometimes you have to do things over. And it may involve repeating things many times, and literally for many years. There's most of the stuff that my horse knows, she's very good about, and we don't have to refresh her on things. But like I said, every once in a while she looks at me and says, no, I don't feel like being caught today, and it starts walking away. And she doesn't run away, she just walks away, but all I have to do is just pick the lead up and say, oh, come on, do I have to do this? And she'll look at me and go, oh, okay, never mind. And she comes back to me. And guaranteed, there's going to be something similar to that with your horse. You're probably going to have to refresh its memory on and just do it over again. And, well, like I said, it all depends on your horse, and your skills and everything else. There may be lots of things you'll have to redo. There may be nothing. Maybe after a year or so, that horse will do everything flawlessly. I don't know. You might have one of those wonderful horses. I had one like that I sold, and dang, I tell you, I kind of regret selling them. And now I've got the knucklehead that, yeah, she kind of likes doing what she wants. She's got a bit of an opinion, that one. She's a handful. Not a horse for everybody. I wouldn't recommend that horse for anybody, unless I really, really dislike them. But then I'd have to dislike the horse too. No, I guess. Well, that's why she's with me, because I don't think anybody else would get her. Because she's a little different, but these are the things. This is reality. She's the kind of horse that, you know, certain things require refreshers. That's all there is to it, and that's what you're going to have to do. So, excuse me, I'm going to go catch a horse and do something. I don't know what today. Haven't quite figured out what comes next, or I don't know. Haven't got a plan. Never do. I just kind of let the horse dictate what I need to be doing with it by its behavior, and go from there. And that's what you need to do too. You got to be flexible and just read the horse. It's a skill that is, it's an acquired skill. It's not, I'm sure there's probably a few people that are born with it that can kind of do it, but pretty much everybody can learn how by just simply paying attention constantly and observing the horse and its behaviors. And don't try and humanize it. Remember, this is a horse, not a human. Everything about them works a little bit differently. So because a horse reacts a certain way to something, don't go, oh, well, this is what it must mean because this is what it would mean to a human. No, this is a horse, remember. It's not a human. So, but anyhow, that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go get a horse and figure it out. I'm going to do something. I don't know what. I'm going to lead it, send it. I don't know. It's not terribly windy today. Maybe I'm going to go get that tarp and work on that a little bit. In which case, if I do, I'm going to take you along on that one. I'll set up the camera and show you how we approach the tarp and different things you can do with a tarp. And it doesn't have to be any special kind of tarp. It doesn't have to be any particular color. The one I am going to go get and use, it's actually silver. Typically, most of them are blue, those poly tarps, I'm sure you've seen them around. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're orange. They could be just about anything. And really, it doesn't make any difference to the horse. Mostly, the effect that it has is the sound that it makes. It has this crinkly, noisy sensation that sometimes it gets them a little concerned. And there's a lot of things you can do with a tarp that I'm going to show you too when I get to that. And yeah, might just do that today. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm going to go get the tarp, and if we use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't. And if we do use it, though, I'm going to bring you along because it'll be a first again, and I'll show you how to approach it. Because it's not complicated, but it's like everything. You got to do it in stages and in steps, and it's a process. You got to build up to eventually you can throw the thing in the air and have the horse walk on it and all this stuff. But it doesn't start there, believe me. There's a long, slow process, and depending on the horse, some horses really don't care. The first time you throw the thing down on the ground, they'll walk on it and stand on it. Other horses years later, again, my own horse, 19 years old, still doesn't like tarps. And I have worked with her on the tarps, and she's gotten better. I mean, she's a very obedient horse. I can actually wrap her in a tarp, but she doesn't like it. It's not her favorite thing, and I have ridden her across a tarp. We've done all this stuff, but she does not like tarps. And, well, it's also not about the tarp either. Well, I'll explain that when we get there, okay? Hang on, I'm gonna go get a horse. I think I'm gonna go get a tarp, then I'm gonna get a horse. Yeah, we'll do it in that order so we don't have to leave the horse in the round pen unattended. I don't like leaving horses unattended. Well, of course, they're unattended out in the pasture, aren't they? Well, if I can help it. Anyhow, I'll be back in a minute. We didn't go very far. I went and got my tarp, and I got a horse here too. And come here, dear. Come. Well, I shouldn't be trying to do this without a lead on. Remember, I said always be prepared, and don't try asking anything of the horse you can't follow through on. If she decides to be social enough to come over here, well, then that's fine. But if I was to be foolish enough to ask her to come over here and she decided she didn't want to. Well, as you can see, the lead and halter's here. It's not on the horse, and I can't make her do anything. So, yeah, it is what it is. But she is coming over because she wants to. And this is actually pretty good. She's a little wary of this thing, but she's curious about it. Okay. Well, this is the topic of the day, and I'm going to talk about this thing. Now, you'll notice I got it all folded up, fairly small. It's not a real big tarp to begin with, but it is folded up. In fact, I might even fold it up a little smaller. There, just like that. And this is where we're going to start. And actually, we already started without realizing it. When she put her nose on it and got curious about it, and I took it away, that was the beginning. And I demonstrated this once before with the little bay when I touched her with the flag and she turned her head and put her nose on the shaft, and I immediately took the flag away and repeated that a couple of times. Well, that's how you get your horse used to things. Let their natural curiosity get the better of them, and as soon as they touch the thing, you take it away, and then it's like, well, hey, I don't need to be scared of it because I have control of it. I can make it go away. And that's exactly what we did with the flag, and that's exactly what we're going to do with this tarp. Now, she's a little preoccupied because she's busy eating. There's grass in here now, unfortunately. Causes a bit of a problem, but I think we can take care of that. I'm pretty sure if we walk over here, we'll get her attention. Now I'm just going to hold this out in front of me and let's see what happens. Again, she touches it with her nose, I take it away. She got curious. And by her curiosity is helping her get over her fear of it. Now I'm going to do it again. Hold it out, see what she does. Now you notice in this case, the scary object is actually between me and her, but there we go, and again she touched it. Didn't look like much. She barely touched it. I don't even know if that was on camera, but she touched it with her nose. Just touched it, and as soon as she touched it, I took it away. And fairly small package. Now what we're going to do here, working up to it, we're going to probably repeat that a few times. And depending on the horse, you actually might have to hold it there for a long time before they get curious enough to touch it. That's the way some horses are. She's very curious about this thing, and she's going to touch it again. Her nose is out, and I'm going to make it go away. There you go. This is actually working very well with this one. I'm going to bring it back in again and see, and she touched it. Now, she's fully in control of this thing now, and by touching it, she makes it go away. So she has no reason to fear this thing, and that's one of the things, we don't want her being afraid of it. But we're starting small, literally small, and we're going to work up. I'm not sure what's got her attention. I think there's a ground squirrel over there that she seems to be interested in for some reason. What do you think, it's going to eat your salt block? They don't like salt blocks. Don't worry. Your salt block's still there. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, she's okay. Oh, there it is. I can see it now. That's what she's looking at, definitely. I can hear it squeaking over there. And until she gets her mind off of that and back onto this, there's no point working with her on it because she might not react to it, but it's because she's oblivious to its existence, because at the moment she's focused on that silly little ground squirrel over there. Some days this is how things go. Not well. You get distractions, but that's okay. We want her paying attention. Excuse me, little girl. Yes, you. Hey, you. Hello. Turn your head over here. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Okay. Can you look at this thing again? No, you're interested in the stupid ground squirrel? Come on. Never mind the ground squirrel. Oh, my goodness. Yep, she's still more interested in that ground squirrel. And there, she touched it again. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to go make that thing go away, throw something at it or something, because it's creating a problem and I can't proceed because the horse has to be focused on what you're doing in order for it to do any good at all, because Otherwise, she's oblivious to the existence of this thing, and you may falsely think the horse is fine with it because it's not freaking out. Well, you know why it's not freaking out? Because it doesn't even know it's here, because it's busy looking at a ground squirrel. Excuse me, I'm going to go get rid of the ground squirrel. Well, back to what we were doing. Apparently flags work good on ground squirrels as well as horses. Although I do expect he might pop up again. I don't know. And in which case we might have to make a little change of plans in what we're doing, because I've said before it's important to have the horse's focus. And when she's distracted by a ground squirrel, which is rather insignificant and it shouldn't be distracted by that, we might have to do something about that, because that's kind of important. The horse has to be focused on us. But she, right now, she's looking at us. I don't know where the ground squirrel is. I can't see him, but I did hear a squeak over there somewhere, so he still exists out there. But let's go back to what we were doing here. I'm just going to hold this out in front of me. I'm not going to force it on her. I'm going to wait for her to get curious and touch it with her nose, and I make it go away. Well, she made it go away. See how this is working? And every time it comes out, there. She's going to be more likely to touch it and make it go away. Now, the very first time you do this with your horse, it won't be like this. You might actually be standing there for a very long time. Guaranteed. I've done it. In fact, in some cases, I had to kind of keep, well, can't even explain what I was doing, but we had to be a little bit more forward with it to get the horse's attention. But when the horse finally did touch it, or even showed interest at all, even looked at the thing, now she's looking at it, but she's not actually touching it. See if she'll touch it. I'm watching close. She's very close to the thing, so I got to be careful I don't move it. And she just touched it and sniffed it at the same time. It was actually her flaring nostrils that touched it. Well, that's okay. But we're working up to something here. We're getting her a little comfortable with this thing and letting her think that she's got control over it. And hopefully she's going to do it again. I hope. Well, she's obviously not concerned about it. She's not trying to escape it. She's not avoiding it. She's not pulling away from it. Oh, I turned it, and I think she's looking at something else now. Could be another ground squirrel over there for all I know. There's a lot of them around here. Excuse me, dear. Pay attention to this thing. This is our subject of the day. And if she keeps getting distracted, I might have to do something about that instead, because this isn't working very well. But she's clearly not afraid of it. Let's see if she's going to touch it again. She's not afraid of this thing. So we might be able to skip doing this anymore. And there, she touched it. There we go. Good girl. Well, this takes a while. It's like everything. It takes a while. There we go. And she touched it again. Just barely, but she touched it. Oh, look at that. She's getting braver now. She's moving in on it. She's really going to take charge of this thing. There we go. She touched it again. She made it go away. You see how this is working? You know, and she's got this figured out. By touching it, she can make it go away to the point where she's even moving in on it now when it is in existence. And let's see. I'm going to hold it out here. She's got her head turned away a little bit. I'm just going to wait. Oh, there we go. And she touches it. Alrighty. Now I think we've gotten to the point where we can move on from this, and I'm going to show you what the next step is. Now she's already seen this thing. She sniffed it. She's looked at it. And keeping it small bundle like this, I'm just going to touch her with it. And hopefully that's not going to bother her too much. And I'm going to do it slowly and gently. She's not super comfortable with it. You can tell she backed up a half step, just very small. That's okay. There. That's all I'm going to do. Just touch her with it. Just rub her on the shoulder a little bit and take it away. And I'm going to do this for a while. various spots, a little more, a little longer. I'm not sure if I need to bore you with all of it, but hey, the camera's running anyhow, so I'm just going to leave it going while I do this. Now I'm just going to keep doing this. And nice and slow, gradual. Hey, sweetheart. Yeah, it's just a tarp. Now, I'm probably going to speed things up a little just for your benefit, and because she actually is doing fairly well. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up a tiny bit. Now there's a little more of it. Now, I'm not going to go crazy with it. It's still pretty small. But I think this is something that we can use. It's an increase. Now, she's not paying attention. She's looking over the other way. Oh, I know. There's a dog over there. I can see it on the other side of the trees. She's concerned about dogs, because there is one of the dogs that likes, it's a herding dog, and she's the only one of the 4 that are that's afraid of dogs. And the dog likes to herd her because she can. And, well, so this is how it goes. So now she's not looking at the dog. I'm blocking her from that. And I'm just rubbing on her. And she appears to be doing quite good with this. Doesn't seem to mind it at all. Alrighty. Oh, she's looking at the dog again. This is not good. I don't like doing this stuff when there's distractions, but here's our next step. I'm going to open it up a little more. Now, I don't want her looking at the dog. I want her to be aware of the tarp, so I'm going to actually block her view with it. So all she sees is this tarp. And you can see, instead of standing motionless, oh, there, she touched the tarp. She's really got this thing figured out. But I don't want her looking at the dog. And you'll notice as soon as I block her view of the dog, all of a sudden her head moves. Whereas when she's staring at the dog, she's pretty much like a statue, pretty much motionless. She keeps trying to get around it so she can see. I'm not sure where the dog went to now. Oh, I see one of them over there. There's actually more than one around. Now, I'm actually going to try and turn her around so she is ignoring the dog. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, I'm off center. I know that. Yes, I know. Okay, back to where we were. Yeah, okay, I'm in the middle. She's a little offside, but I'm gonna take this now that I've unfolded it a little bit more, and I'm gonna touch her with this, because I don't want to just open the thing right up and throw it at her. That's not how you do things. Like I said, everything has to be done slowly and in stages. So I'm going to take this tarp, and I'm just gonna, and I'm holding on to both ends of it so it doesn't flap around too much or anything like that. Get her concerned. That's a good girl. Yes. See this thing? Okay. Now, this is the point at which I'm going to make some noise with it. And, well, that's got her attention. Okay. She didn't actually touch that time, but... Oh, she's looking at that darn dog again. Goodness sakes. Sorry, dear. Hate to disappoint you, but no, you don't get to look at the dog. No, I'm going to block you. You don't get to look at the dog. Goodness. That's a distraction we don't want now. I don't mind distractions, but sometimes it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here, because, and I've gone way off camera. I was going to explain what I just did there, but I don't think you even got to see it. Is when she was trying to turn around, I put my arm up beside her head, very close to the eye. I blocked her. And this is a method that you can use anytime the horse insists on moving a certain direction. All you got to do is put your arm up, put your hand something like that, right near the eye, and just, sometimes you don't have to do anything, sometimes a little movement like that near the eye. They're very protective of the eye, and they'll move away from it. You can block a horse with just holding your hand up. That's all you got to do. Get it up near the eye, and you'll have success. Hey, sweetheart. Nice girl. I just thought maybe she'd see if she'll come back over here again, because she went back to grazing, lost interest in the dog. So I'm hoping that maybe she's going to get interest in me again. And we're not trying to push things here. We're letting her go at her pace. That's why I haven't got a leader halter on her. We're just in a round pen where I can follow her around if I have to and do things. I'd like to keep her back far enough from the camera that you get a decent view of what we're doing. And I'm going to shake this thing around, make some noise with it, slap it on my leg a little or something, try and get a hold of it so it doesn't come unfolded on me here. It does get her attention, but she's also, oh yeah, darn dog. She can see the dog over there. It's coming through the trees, and now it's just on the other side of the fence. But fortunately, she's not too focused on it at the moment. She seems to be more interested in this thing. But this is part of the thing that you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to make some noise with this thing, because it's this noise. That's what bothers them the most, more than anything. Don't know why. Don't know why it is, but this kind of plastic sounding noise bothers most horses. Now, I think we kind of half got her curious. She took a few steps this direction, and then she kind of looked to see if she could graze, and then she'd come this way a little bit more. She's looking at the dog again. She can't make up her mind what she wants to pay attention to. You're silly, really. How about this thing? You like it? You don't care about it. You're more interested in the dog. Oh, come on. Dog is inconsequential. Dog don't matter. And I'm just going to hold it up in front of her so she can't see the dog. If she wants to make this thing go away, she can. She knows how. Just touch it. You can make it go away. Now, this is not something that's what I'm showing you right now is not part of, well, normal, what we do for training. We're not usually trying to block the horse from seeing a dog. It's not something that we usually have to do. But, well, we're doing it today. Are you going to touch this thing again? Yes, she is. She's going to touch it. Okay. Then we'll take it away. So what we're going to do is, as the horse gets used to this thing, and well, this is not working particularly well because she's not really paying a lot of attention to it, but what you'll do is you'll gradually keep opening it up. And you'll keep making noise with it to see if the horse gets nervous. If that bothers it. If it does, do it from a distance. In her case, she doesn't really care. In fact, it kind of gets her attention. But you might have to start quite a ways away from your horse, making noise with the thing, and walk around, not approaching the horse, just keeping about the same distance, whatever you find its limit, what it's comfortable with. Walk up to it as much as you can while making noise. And when you see the horse starting to get worried, don't go any closer, but kind of make a big circle around the horse back and forth while making noise. And then, well, as you can see, I've opened it up some more, haven't I? Yep. And now I'm going to touch her with it again. And I'm going to slap it against her hard and do this slowly so that, and again, she's not paying much attention. Silly little horse. Hey, pay attention, girl. You need to realize what's going on here, otherwise this is going to be totally ineffective. And I suppose in that respect, this is actually working well because I'm getting to explain to you the fact that, the horse really needs to be aware of the presence of this thing. And, well, as you can see, I've got it wrapped right over top of her. Okay, now she's getting a little concerned. You see that? She moved. She's a little bit wary of it, not bad though. Well, let's see what happens if we make it bigger. I think we can, now just so I don't whap her with it, I'm going to step back a little while I unfold it one more time. It's getting to be a decent size now. And she's still pretty close to it. She's not running away from it. Oh, she's going to touch it. Okay, it's going to go away now. Because I want her to continue to be unafraid of it. This is what we're trying to do. She's not scared of it at all. She's watching it. She's following me around. She's paying attention to it. That's good. And now you see her jump a little bit there when I shake it. It bothers her a little bit. So we're going to have to work on that. That noise is going to be an issue. You can already tell. And that's not surprising. Every time I shake it, she jumps. And that's almost normal. In fact, usually a horse might react a little more than that when you do it. You see it? She jumped again, and I jumped again. And I'm going to keep my distance here. I'm not going to push her with it. I'm going to keep my distance here. I'm just going to keep flapping this thing until, you see now she's not reacting anymore? She's gotten used to this thing. That's good. This is what I want. We're doing this gradually, and I'm keeping my distance. I'm not pushing this on her. That's not how you get a horse used to things. You don't force it on him. You just kind of go at their pace and figure out what works and read the horse. Pay attention to the horse. I just showed you, very clearly, if you're paying attention, you saw her jump when I shook this thing. Well, that's exactly what you got to do. You got to watch that stuff with your horse. Now, I just did exactly what I did before, and this time she did not jump at all. So I'm going to move a little closer to do this and see. Okay, she's a little more concerned now that I'm closer. So yeah, she even backed off that time. But I don't want her going away from it or figuring that makes it go away. So, okay, she stopped and turned and looked at it. So I stopped doing it. Now she's going to come over here. She just took a step towards me, which is great. You probably can't see that. She's off camera, but I'm going to shake this a little more. And from this distance, I'm far enough, it's not bothering her at all. And she's actually taking a couple more steps this direction. She's more interested in the grass, but that's okay. She's not terrified of the thing to the point where she's going to avoid it at all costs. So we're going to gradually move in, all the time shaking it, and let's see how close we can get. Oh, we're pretty darn close while making noise with it. She's wary of it, you can tell. She kind of pulled her head back a little bit, but she hasn't moved her body, so I think I'll just stop right there, because she's getting a little concerned, and we're not real far from her. If I wasn't hanging on to the tarp, I could reach out and touch her nose. We're just going to keep doing this, and like I said, it might take a while here doing this stuff, but we're going to keep doing it, and go slow with it. And this is a little bit different because I've done this lots with other horses, but didn't have dogs and ground squirrels as distractions. Didn't have to deal with the wind because I did this in an indoor arena the last time I did it. Much easier. But hey, this is the real world, and this is probably what you're going to have to deal with. You're not going to have an indoor arena because the average person, unless you're boarding somewhere, isn't even going to have access to one. So, just a dog, you're okay. But it has got her attention again. Another one of the dogs. I think there's like 3, 4, maybe 5 of them running around right now. I don't know. There's 2 that live here, and then there's 3 visiting right now. And I think they're actually all here at the moment. I don't know if any are in the house, but I did see 1 in the house. So that means there's probably at least 4 outside. Yeah. So we're going to just block our view of the dogs. Again, now the tarp is actually getting pretty big, isn't it? And she's not scared of it. She just took another step towards it. And I think she's still focusing on those dogs. Yeah. But we're going to block her view here. This isn't working very well. I'm going to turn around the other way so I can see her, because I've got to lift it up so high to block her view that I can't see. This is actually going not bad. It's a little trickier with the distractions, but we're still making progress. Now, I'm going to unfold it one more time. Let's see if I can get it at the right spot. Right there. There we go. It's getting a lot bigger now, isn't it? And when I shake it, even though it's quite a bit bigger now, she hasn't gone anywhere, and she's not throwing her head up and getting worried about it. She's got a little bit of concern of it, and interest in it. Interest, maybe it's concern. It's hard to tell really sometimes. You know, I'm not flawless. You know, you guys could probably do this as well as I can. I'm just showing you how to do it, but I'm sure you can do it just as easily. Which has actually been one of the themes of my videos is, if I can do it, so can you. Just remember that. I'm nobody special. You know, just because I saw somebody else doing it, and I remembered it, and now I'm showing you. Well, you see what's happening now with it in the wind. The wind's catching it, and it's, yeah. And she's a little concerned about it, the head's up, but she hasn't moved away. She's not trying to avoid it. And in fact, right now, she's stepping towards it. Wasn't much. She took one step, moved 1 foot towards it. That's okay. That's good. And I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'm just going to grab the end of it here. Well, actually, it's a side. We won't get details. I'm going to see if I can get this a little closer to her now. It's gotten pretty big, and she's been exposed to the noise of it. And I'm going to touch her with it. There we go. Nice girl. Oh, you going to make it go away? Okay, she's going to touch it with her nose. So I'm going to make it go away. But I was rubbing her with this thing. And it's not even fully unfolded yet. We still got one more to go. One more layer. It's, like I said, this isn't a huge tarp, but it's certainly big enough to do the job. And actually, I was thinking of one more thing I wanted to do with it, and I'm not sure I have what I need to make it work, because I want to lay it down on the ground, but it's just windy enough it's going to blow the darn thing away. I need something to hold it down. Darn. Well, anyhow, but we're not there yet anyhow. We're getting her used to this thing so that she doesn't freak out over it. We're going to go touch her with it again, so she realizes it's not a horse-eating monster. It's not going to kill her. And there we go, rubbing her. She twitched just a tiny bit. She's a little wary of it. Is she going to touch it with her nose? She touched it with her nose and made it go away. She doesn't like it. She wants it to go away. That's okay. But she knows how to do that now. And she did it by just touching it with her nose. And yeah, I got her attention. She didn't move, but her head popped up. She was just about to graze when I did that. But you notice I'm not doing this right beside her. I'm keeping my distance so that she realizes that, well, okay, it makes a bunch of noise, it flies around, whatever, big deal. It's not a big deal, but you know, this is an important step in desensitizing, because there's going to be, and this is something I was going to mention earlier, well, I sort of alluded to, is that when you're desensitizing with a lot of different things, it's not about those particular items. And in this case, it's not really about this thing, not at all. It's got nothing to do with a tarp. You know, this just happens to be what we're using. But we're desensitizing her to, well, we're doing a couple things, because eventually we're going to have her walk on it, which is going to get her desensitized to different footings. We're also getting her desensitized to noise, different sights, movements, things that touch her. This stuff smells weird too. It's got a strange smell to it. As most of you would know, that plastic does that. It's got a weird smell, especially if it's ever been damp and then bundled up and left to sit. It gets a mildew smell. It's just terrible. But you know, this is all things we're working on with her. And you can see she's moving in on it again. And I'm not doing this. I'm letting her do it. You know, I'm not forcing it on her. I'm letting her own curiosity figure out that this thing is not going to hurt her. That she can approach it and touch it and make it go away. And it's, you know, it's a little weird, but in the end, at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt her. And, well, let's see what happens here. I'm just going to hold it out and see if she wants to make it go away again. I might have to hold it here for a while. Who knows? But another one of the things, there we go. There, she just touched it. She turned her head, and then she lifted her nose up enough to touch the corner of it. She just made it go away again. And we're going to keep doing that. Anytime she turns her head to it and touches it, I'm going to make it go away, because that's what she's doing. She's making it go away by something that she needs to add. If you're a clicker trainer, that'd be kind of like target training kind of thing, you know, where they touch their nose on an appropriate thing. Well, we do stuff similar. And it's really not that much different, really. It's just they got more props and gimmicks, and personally I just think it's an entirely different system that would require a lot of learning, and I'm not going to elaborate much more on that. It's not what these videos are about, and I already did a video on that subject a few years back. If you go looking through my channel, you'll see one that's got to do with my opinion on clicker training, and I'm not opposed to it. You know, if you want to do it and it works for you, go ahead. But this is what we're doing here. And there's no clicker involved and no treats, and not that I don't give treats to horses, but she actually doesn't even like them anyhow, so it doesn't matter. And not necessary. Because as you can see, everything that we have achieved so far, we've done without any treats whatsoever. None. And here she comes again. Is she going to touch this thing? She's certainly curious about it. Yeah, good girl. You want to touch this thing again? Let's see, she's certainly curious about it. Is she going to touch it? Pretty close. Now this is a little dicey at this point because I don't have control of that corner, and it's a little breezy, and it's moving. And there, she just touched it. So we'll make it go away. And we're going to continue doing this over and over. You know, we could be at this for quite a while. This is one of those things that it might actually take quite a while to get accomplished. Now, I was going to explain one of the reasons we're doing this. Okay, the sound, the sight, the smell, different footing once she walks on it. And there are going to be days you're going to come out to your horse with your rein slicker on. And those are usually made out of some kind of plasticized material similar to this, and makes noise. And in the past I had one horse that she wasn't too bad with the tarp, but when it come to my raincoat, I couldn't wear it around her. She wouldn't have anything to do with me if I wore that thing. Now, I don't know what has got her attention. I'm sure there's probably a dog running around over there somewhere that she sees I didn't see. And so she's looking that way. I'm going to block her view. She's trying to look around it. And I'm like, no, sorry. You got to pay attention to what we're doing here. Otherwise, it's not going to be effective. There we go. Very good. Now, I'm going to touch her with this thing again. I'm just going to keep doing this. Now I think at this point, since there's only one more fold, there we go, the whole thing. Now we've done this gradually. It started off as a tiny little package about that big, and now we got this nice big tarp. Now she's a tiny bit concerned about it. I can tell. I'm watching. I'm paying attention. Because that's what you got to do. You got to pay attention to the horse. Oh, look at that. It's quite the thing. And she's not running away from it, which is great. Now, I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this, but yeah, I think I might have to somehow stuff it underneath the edge of the round pen or something to keep the wind from blowing it away on me. Because, but so far, you know, she's doing pretty good with it. Now I'm just going to go slow. I'm not. Eventually, I'm going to put this whole tarp right over her. Eventually, but in the meantime, no, I'm not going to do that. Oh, you want to make this go away, do you? You don't like it? Okay, it goes away. We're not going to rush things. Take our time. I told you this before. Go slow. There's several good horse trainers out there that you know, have even guys that aren't with us anymore. Their motto is, you know, the slow way is the fast way, or you go slow to go fast, or, you know, there's variations. I've heard lots of guys say it, but essentially, take time. That's the bottom line. Take time. Now, she's still not 100% cool with this thing yet, and again, I think she's looking at the dog over there somewhere. Oh yeah, I see one moving way over there. Well, actually, there's a couple of them over there. They're a long ways away. They're on the other side of the yard, but she can see them. I had trouble finding them. This is another example of how good horse eyesight is. Oh, you don't like this thing? You want to make it go away again? Well, it's going to touch you. There. Oh, not bad. She didn't flinch that time. And we've got it just about as big as it can get now, too. And just a little at a time. Hopefully she's not going to get too excited about this, but I'm going to gradually put this thing right over top of her. There. See how that works? We started off with a tiny little package in our hand, and now we can put an entire tarp over the horse. And well, actually, I'm going to kind of, although I don't think she's even aware of it right at the moment. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Yeah, good girl. She's more interested in the freaking dogs. My goodness. Okay, so I'm going to do something else now with this tarp. We've done the sight and sound sensations, all this stuff, and smell. She's not too concerned about the tarp. She's more interested in the freaking dog right now. The way she's pacing around and looking over that direction, and I'm not sure what the deal is. Yeah. Oh, there's one of them. Oh, there's another one. Two of the bigger ones. Yeah, she's concerned about dogs. So I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to refocus the camera a little bit for what I'm going to do next, but it's, we're still using the tarp, and I think we're going to do something kind of similar but different. And I think for this I might have to put the halter and lead on for what I'm about to do. But I think I got her figured out. And I'm going to do what I said before is I'm improvising. If I wanted to, I could go get a big brick or some tent pegs or something to stake it to the ground. But I think what I'm going to do here is this is a portable round pan. It's just sitting on the surface. And I think if I just lift up one of the panels, I can stuff the edge of this underneath. And the other end, well, if the wind's going that way, all I got to do is peg down one side of it. The other side's not going anywhere. I think this is going to work just fine. So I'll be back with you in a minute. We're going to fold this thing up a little bit more again. And we're going to do something a little bit different. Principles are a lot the same. You start off with it small, gradually make it bigger. And I'm going to show you how that works. What we've got here, and we've started off with it a little bigger than you might need to. You might have to maybe fold it one more time, make it really skinny. In her case, because she doesn't seem to be overly concerned about it, I'm going to start off with it a little bit bigger. And at this point, they can step over it. Or if they get really nervous, they might jump over it. I've seen both. And so that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to send her over it and see what she does. Huh? She's a little concerned about it. Yeah, that's okay. And I'm going to make sure I'm standing in far enough that she has to go over it. And she doesn't want to. Good. This is exactly what I wanted to show you. And perhaps maybe I should have made it a little bit smaller. Come on. I might have to go get my flag. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Way you go. I don't want to push her too hard. But we need to get her to go over this. Her foot touched it and she didn't like that. Oh, that's interesting. A little more reaction from her than I thought or expected. And well, since we're going to take a little break here, I'm going to grab my flag because I think I'm going to need it. And we're just going to go the other direction this time. Maybe she'll be better this way. Come on. If you don't want your foot touching it, jump over it. I don't care. You can, as long as you go over it. That's a good girl. And there we go. Well, she thought about that for a second. But you'll also notice the lead is loose. I'm not forcing her. I've just got the flag out here so I can block her. So there is really only one direction she can go, and that is to go over the tarp, because that is ultimately what we want. Now I might wiggle the flag a little to encourage some movement if nothing happens. Let's see. Come on. Oh, she really don't want to go over that thing. Good girl. She took a step towards it. She didn't go over it yet, but she took a step towards it. Remember, movement in the right direction is still progress. And that's what we just had. We had progress. She moved in the right direction. She's standing right over top of the thing. Her head's right over it. But, oh. Okay, she's a little concerned about this thing. This is interesting. It's okay. Now, this is not the end of the world. She's got worried about it. But she's going to gradually figure out that it's not going to kill her. Hasn't hurt her yet, has it? Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good girl. This is one of a couple ways of doing it. And since this way isn't working particularly good, I'm going to try something else. Not too far off the mark. What do we got laying here? Oh, a buckle off of something. Oh, maybe a concho. I'll just put that over there for now. Now here's another option, because there's more than one way to do things. Now at this point I could maybe roll that up a little bit smaller, but I don't know, she's not lifting her feet real high, so even if it's not as far, I don't think it's going to matter. She's not stepping over it. And right now it's narrow enough, she could step over it. So let's see what we do here. Now she can move this way easy enough. It's over there. She's got room. So I'm just going to keep her going this way. Yeah, she's a little concerned. She looked at it. And you know what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to gradually get closer. And you notice how she's still avoiding the thing, which means she's getting a little close to me. I don't like that. Okay, she kind of jumped over the tip of it that time. That's okay. I'm good with that. Oh, we're getting too close for her comfort. Okay. Yeah, she really doesn't like this thing. Okay, this is great. We're having a problem. I love it. We're having a problem. I get to show you something. And, so we're just going to do this for a while until she gets a little more used to it, because this is a particularly adverse reaction she's having here to that thing. So we're just going to keep doing this for a little while. It might take a bit. I don't know. Keep going. There we go. Good girl. That's a little too close to me. I don't like that. But, well, her one foot touched the corner of it. She got a little panicky there, but that's okay. She's figuring out, even if it's just one little foot touching it, this thing isn't killing her. And I'm really glad that we're doing this, because we're discovering that certain things do bother her, and if when the day comes that you ride her, come on, I'm going to get out of the way here so I don't get, come on, there we go. When the day comes you ride her, we don't want to find out the hard way that certain things bother her and she gets kind of explosive. So it's good that we're doing this now, because we're learning. We're finding out what she don't like. And it turns out, yeah, there are things she doesn't like. Come on. Come on. There we go. I'm going to let her go between me and it, if she doesn't want to go over it just yet. There we go. She's getting a little more comfortable with it. She's staying out from me. She's just barely going past the tip of it. And she's not rushing past it now. So we're actually making progress here. You might not realize it, but we are actually making progress here. See how calm she is now? This is great. Keep going. I realized I was actually moving. I like to stay directly in line with the thing. Now I think, now that she's getting pretty good with it, stop her right beside it. And she can just deal with it for a minute. She's obviously a little worried. Oh, look at that, she's relieving herself. And unfortunately, it's kind of like right where I want her to move. I don't want her stomping all over it, but oh well, is what it is. But you can tell this whole thing is getting her a little concerned, though, because of the fact she's relieving herself. I've mentioned this before. That's a stress indicator. When the horse is relieving itself, you know it's getting a little stressed by things. And clearly the way she's been behaving, it was obvious she was getting stressed. So the fact that she's now relieving herself doesn't surprise me. Okay, keep moving. There you go. She's getting much better now. She's still avoiding the thing, but she's kind of doing this little zigzag around it. So she's, in a way, she's getting closer to it. Because she's actually, see, she's making her circle so that she actually comes in front of it here. It's kind of neat how she's doing that. Keep going. This might actually take a while. Oh, she went very, very close to it that time and then cut in front of it. We're making progress here. This is great. Oh, she touched it. Got her a little worried. That's okay. And again, this is where you got to be paying attention, because I got to be watching, because if she gets a little excited and jumps too much, I got to make sure I don't get my feet in the way, or she's going to step on me. She might even knock me right over. Who knows? Come on, keep going. Good girl. There you go. But she's not horribly, like I said, we're still making progress. We're still making progress. This is going rather slow for her. Kind of normal for most horses, but she's going a little slow. That's okay. I'm almost surprised that it's going this slow, but on the bright side, you can see what my flag's doing in the wind. I got the end of that tarp pinned down under the rail, under the one panel there, so it's not going anywhere in the wind. Perfect. Well, now this is the point where we've got a couple options here. I don't really want to force her, but one of the things you can do is get them going a little faster. And Just gradually push them in. No, she is not going to go over that thing. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this for a while. She's not happy about this, I can tell. She's getting very close to that thing, though. Come on. There, she went over it. She jumped it, but she went over it. And that is golden. That's gold right there. We'll let her rest now. Because she did something very, very good. That was a huge improvement. And that's why I said you get them moving a little faster. And this is exactly what happens, is sometimes you can actually get enough momentum, they'll just hop over the thing and keep going. And that's exactly what we were looking for. That was what I was hoping for. So that's exactly what we did. Now, clearly, we've got a long ways to go yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're making progress. First she got closer to it, then she actually hopped over it once. And since she did that, I'm giving her a little rest now. And pretty impressed with that. And eventually she's going to go hop over that thing at a lower speed. And once she starts going over that thing quite regularly, I'll show you the next step. In the meantime, we're going to do this a whole bunch more. And I'm going to edit out a bunch of this, so if it seems like you're missing something, or the progress is going a little quicker all of a sudden, well, that's why. I'm going to leave a bunch out. But I'm not going to leave out anything important, just boring, repetitious stuff that I'm sure I've already shown you, and you kind of figure what's coming next, so I don't need to do this for you. But I'm going to just leave the camera on, and I am going to make sure that everything that happens is on video so that you don't miss anything, and if there's any notable changes, you're going to get to see them. Promise. In the meantime, let's get back to it. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Well, this is actually... I'm leaving that one in. Good girl. Good girl. Another reason for taking pauses when you're doing stuff like this is particularly when they're jumping. Now, this is partly my opinion too, because I'm not a big fan of jumping, and it's actually been scientifically proven through load sensors and stuff that the impact of landing a jump on a horse is like 100 times the impact of normal trotting. And when they're young and their bones haven't fully developed, I think it's extra important not to overstress the joints and bones and stuff like that. So I would prefer she wasn't jumping this at all, but when she does, I think it's important. Don't push her. Just let her take a break. And by taking a break, same thing happens. She always, as always, they get to rest and they know that they've done something right. Now, I'm kind of surprised a little bit. At present state, things are taking a little longer than I anticipated, and I don't think you're going to want to watch a 3-hour-long video, because at this point I think that's what it seems to be it's going to take. You got to see some of it. You got to see the first part of it, and I'm going to bring you back and show you some more later, because we're not done. We finally found something that's not going so good. That's okay. This is the real world. Not everything is going to work for you. And there could be a lot of other things that went just excellent with this horse that you are going to struggle your little backside off. I can guarantee it. Guarantee it. And You know, when it comes to something like this, you might lay that tarp out and your horse is just going to walk across it like it's not even there. Couldn't care less. This one, she cares. But we'll bring it back later when we make a little more progress. And before we make too much progress, I'll bring you back so you can watch some of the progress that we make. Because I'm sure you want to see that and how we do it. Because there are stages to this, what we're doing. And I do want to show them to you. And so I'm definitely going to bring you back when we make some progress on this. Once she starts going over this a little better, I'm going to show you. But at the moment, this part, the initial part of getting her over that thing, man, it's not going well at all, but we'll get there. I'm still here. And I think I have to do this part again because I don't know, from what I can see on my camera, it wasn't there. I think I didn't hit the button hard enough when I pushed record and then the camera shut itself off, but I got to show you where we went because right after I turned the camera off, we made some huge progress. Like any good horseman, I decided to get flexible and try something different. So I tried a third method. We've already tried two and I decided to try one more. Now I think we're going to have a problem because the other horse has just moved in and she's clearly distracted by them. Get away from me. Get. Get. You're near my toe. I don't like that. Get away from me. Hey. Silly little horse. I don't want a horse stomping on my toes. So. Well, by rewarding the slightest try, I'll show you what we got here. This is ridiculous. I'm going to go on the other side and go the other way. And, oh, now she's a slight bit more hesitant. But I'm going to keep a firm hold on this end, but the other side of the lead is, I didn't even pull on it that time. That was her own doing. And she actually took the first step. She actually stepped right on it and stood there for a minute before she decided to, what in the heck? I didn't even ask her to do that. I'm not even on that side of the tarp. Okay. Wow, this is some huge progress here. Well, okay, today's video is getting too long already, so we're not going to include any more. But I just wanted to show you that one because we made huge progress and we, yet again, changed things up, did something a little different, and it worked. So, have fun. I'll be back, guaranteed. We've got one more horse to go. We haven't done any of this with her. We're going to do it more with this one, and you're going to see it, okay? We're not going to leave you out of this. No way. I'm sure that's the whole reason you're here. You want to see this stuff. So, and we're not done with this part. We still got more to go, so we'll bring it back probably tomorrow. When we bring her back in, I think we've had her in here just about long enough today. I think it's time to let her go be a horse. It's always a good idea. In the meantime, go play with your horse. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.